We think that we have a good opportunity of picking up 40 Republican House members at a very minimum. And this would mean that we would control the House of Representatives, and I would hope that with that control we would be able to elect Dick Nixon president. But I don't think it's going to the House of Representatives. Every major poll in this country today shows that Dick Nixon now is running a very good race, and he's far ahead, and it will not be necessary for the House to elect a president. But it's important from the standpoint of our programs. We have a majority in the House of Representatives.
Well, this stock exchange would operate in the entire region to provide an orderly market for securities, new securities of expanding firms and new firms. It would help to provide the financial support for the economy to create new jobs and in support of the industries it would like to develop. Uh, we think that it is a necessary part of a large financial center such as Dallas is, and such as the state and this region is becoming.
Gators will do some work for me.
Because it binds the United States for a long period of years. And how do we know but what the next year or year after? It might be advisable to let Western Germany or some of our allies have nuclear weapons, not only to protect their interest, which is part of the free world, but to protect our interest too.
How far have you gotten in that case?
Just look over the record and see what's involved and what steps might be taken, but we haven't appeared in any court or taken any action, frankly.
Is there a chance that Mr. Hoffa might be released?
Well, I assume he'll get released eventually, but I don't think he's looking forward to it in the immediate future.
Well, I mean, is there a chance that he could be released before his time is up?
Oh, there's always a chance.
What type chance do you think that he has of this?
I think that's pretty difficult to assess. There are two convictions, and one of them I don't know anything about, so it would be nothing but a guesstimate. But he has some years left to serve on the Chattanooga conviction.
I don't know. The thing is, the way we look at it is that, for example, last summer he went to Chicago and worked for Sears and Roebuck for 3 months, and I was living in New York with my family, of course, so I didn't get to see him very often. I flew out on youth fair, and he came back 3 times that summer. And this summer we were together all the time campaigning, and so it's really helped in that respect. But now that he's back in school, I'm really missing him. But he joins us for weekends.
Actually, their overall offense, Vern, is great, but when you have a fellow like Leroy Kelly, who's led the National Football League 2 years in a row, it's a great runner, no question about it. This has got to be our major problem, but then when you sit and watch films and watch Warfield and Collins run down the field, then you think maybe passing is your problem. But they've got a fine team, and they're contenders for their division, and it should be a great ball game.
Whether coming from one of the people in the field standing in a control room watching a television production or from the viewer at home, criticism of film and TV is fast becoming our national pastime. But one of the defenses presented for film and TV is that it's such a new field that many of the people in it are still learning. But that's the point of this beautiful new building here at SMU. Skilled professionals need basic training and experience. This entire building, the Sharp Building, built through the generosity of Charles Sharp and just being dedicated today, is devoted to that end. The building also houses the Division of Dramatic Arts, but the Broadcast Film Art Department has perhaps the most exciting new facility. The chairman of that department is Dr. J.B. McGrath.
We aim this department toward preparing young people to go into the broadcast film arts industry. Now, I say arts and industry because I think that's what it is. It should be artistic, but also it has to make money. It is very essential to have a studio like this with the actual equipment, the cameras, the boom, the lighting, the control booth that the student will be using when he graduates from our school. He needs to work with this equipment right now, because at SMU he is in the University College his first 2 years where he's learning his humanities courses. But while he's getting the great traditions of the liberal arts, he's also learning his craft. So we hope we're creating a kind of a matrix here, because we think the liberal arts are very important, but we also think that he must know his business, he must know his craft. Now, we emphasize content, that is, the material that's put into the camera and into the microphones. We think this is very important. So we think the student is getting both.
the health of industries and the actual number of jobs?
Well, industry can be perhaps healthy without it, but it means that that instead of all of the security underwriting and support coming from other regions of the country, that we would have our own market created here, and that we would have a area where we could buy and sell securities in an exchange here, and we think it would have a very profound effect on industry here.
How urgent do you feel it is that something be done along this line?
Well, it's not that something has to be done immediately. We'll survive without it, certainly. But we think that as a part of our responsibility of trying to plan ahead and provide facilities for necessary growth capital in the area, that it's something that we should be laying the groundwork now. And so we are conducting these studies and hearings and trying to provide the basis for the creation of a stock exchange.
The whole procedure would take how long?
Well, of course, the state doesn't own a stock exchange. It's owned privately. So we could only assume that once we have taken care of whatever laws changes might be necessary, that it would be a relatively short period of time. The area is receptive to it. I think that the capital could be raised for it. It would be owned by the members of the exchange. And I think we're talking about a relatively brief period of time of months rather than of years, certainly.
A feasibility study is now underway at the University of Texas School of Finance to determine the practicality of creating a regional stock exchange in Texas. The men in the meeting today were either state officials or those in the business who would be affected by such a facility. The chairman of a special legislative committee, Dave Finney, and Dallas Representative Joe Ratcliffe were given a tour of the Cotton Exchange in downtown Dallas. Both said there are no better facilities in the state than these, but Finney refused to rule out other cities or even the possibility of having more than one trading floor within the proposed Southwest Regional Stock Exchange. The Cotton Exchange was once the largest in the world, but has declined in the last few years to the point that there is very little activity at all now. Cotton Exchange officials say that government regulations have caused a reduction of trading. Texas now exports only half of the 9 million bales per year that it used to send out. Texas Securities Commissioner Bill King revealed today that the latest figures show over $1 billion in new securities were licensed in the year ending last August. That's the first time the figure has been that high. We asked Representative Ratcliffe to outline the benefits of establishing a regional exchange. Texas does not have a transfer tax, which would give some inducement for traders to use a Southwest regional market here. The actual establishment would take legislation to provide regulation and operation for an exchange, then formation of a private corporation, and subscription by members who would actually do the trading. That process could be completed within less than a year. There apparently will be some opposition from over-the-counter stock traders who might lose some business through such an exchange. A few other brokers seem cool to the idea, but others are interested at least in looking things over in more detail and are awaiting the feasibility report in December. Rosser McDonald, Channel 8 News.
For the future of our country, for the protection of our people, all of our people, for the benefit of our children.
Are we in a position now with technology where we can detect and retaliate more quickly than we could several years ago?
Are you talking about it in a strategic sense or a tactical sense? Yes, quite a bit more rapidly. We have better detection capability, and our missile force, particularly the Minuteman and also the Polaris, can be fired in a matter of seconds.
As far as detection goes, 10 years ago there wasn't much of anything better than the ballistic missile early warning system. Is there now, or will there be in the future?
There isn't in being now, but technology can provide a very significant improvement. Well, there is over-the-horizon radar, which augments the ballistic missile early warning system in Greenland. But there are other technologies that relate to space that can provide significantly improved warning over that.
We can get your what remarks you have.
Change parties yourself. Do you envision many conservative Democrats changing over?
Yes, I do. I envision in the next few years.
As a member of Congress, how do you feel Congress will go, the House of Representatives will go, if the vote goes into the House?